Okay, today we're going to talk about compound inequalities. Today, tomorrow, Thursday, and you'll have a quiz on them on Friday. The first part of your assignment today, the question is going to be, what compound inequality represents the phrase and then you're going to be asked to graph the solutions. All right, so compound inequalities. They look like this. Look like this. One type of compound inequality would be, compound inequalities look like this. One type of compound inequality may be x is less than or equal to 3, or x is greater than 5. That's one type of compound inequality. It has the word or in it. And when the compound inequality has the word or in it, it's just two inequalities in one. The second type of compound inequality you'll see is something like negative 3 is less than x, and x is less than or equal to 5. This second compound inequality is when the variable is in the middle, or it's in between two inequalities. All right? And this is considered a AND inequality. Because you read this, negative 3 is less than x, and x is less than or equal to 5. Now, when you're graphing compound inequalities, you're really graphing two answers on one number line. So if you graph this compound inequality on the left, you're going to graph x is less than or equal to 3. So you put your 3 on the number line. It's a closed circle, and it's going to the left, or shaded to the left. You put your 5 on the number line, and it is in this case, your x is greater than 5, so it's an open circle, and it's going to the right. Or compound inequalities almost always get shaded opposite of each other. So in this case, all the solutions are less than or equal to 3, or they are greater than 5. In this second compound inequality, the AND inequality, on the number line, you would graph the negative 3 and the 5. Now, on the negative 3, it's just a less than symbol, so it's an open circle. And on the 5, it's a less than or equal to symbol, so it's a closed circle. And then when you're graphing or shading the and inequalities, you shade in between the two values, because the x is between the -3 and the 5. Whose music is that? All right, so for these next examples, we're going to write an inequality, and graph. So we're looking for all real numbers greater than 8, greater than -8, and less than 8. So you're going to write an inequality for all real numbers greater than -8 and less than 8. So this is an and inequality. So when it's an and inequality, you put the -8 and you put the +8, and the variable goes in the middle. Now you're looking for numbers that are greater than -8. So you got an open, or you got an arrow without the equal sign pointing to the left. And you're looking for less than +8. So that's the same symbol. When you graph these, on your number line goes a -8 and the +8. You're graphing everything that's greater than -8, so that is an open circle on the -8. And you're graphing everything less than +8, so it's an open circle on the +8. And it's everything in between, so you're shading the middle. All real numbers. Less than -9. Or greater than -7. All right, so this compound inequality has the word or in it. So when the word or is in there, you're going to write two separate inequalities. The first one is going to be numbers less than -9. So that would be x is less than -9. You just write the word or. The second part of the inequality is greater than 7. So x is greater than 7. When you graph those, you put your negative 9 on the number line, and you put a 7 on the number line. On the negative 9, you've got an open circle, and you're graphing less than negative 9, so it's going to the left. On the 7, it's an open circle, and it's going to the right. Any questions? Okay, get this in your notes, please. Write down that at least means greater than or equal to. At most means less than or equal to. In the second part of your assignment today, you're going to be asked to solve the inequality, or actually it's going to say what are the solutions of the inequality, first part of the question, and then you're going to be asked to graph the solutions. And in this part, you're going to be given two types of problems. You're going to be given an and compound inequality, and then you're going to be given an or compound inequality. So here's an and. It's negative 12 is less than or equal to 2x minus 4, which is less than 4. When you're solving this and compound inequality, you're trying to get the variable by itself in the middle of the inequality. So in this case, you're going to add 4 to the right side, the middle, and the left side. So negative 12 plus 4 is negative 8, is less than or equal to 2x, which is less than 4 plus 4 is 8. The next step here would be to divide everything by 2. The middle, the right, and the left. So negative 8 divided by 2 is negative 4, is less than or equal to x, which is less than 4. So that is the solution to your compound inequality, or those are the solutions. So when you graph those, you've got your number line, you've got a negative 4 on it, and you've got a positive 4 on it. On the negative 4, it's going to be a closed circle. And on the positive 4, it's going to be an open circle. And since the x is in the middle, you're going to shade everything in the middle. Questions? Try this. Negative 16 is less than 2x minus 10, which is less than 4. Again, you're trying to get the x by itself in the middle of the inequalities. So you're going to add 10 to the middle, to the right, and to the left. So negative 16 plus 10 is negative 6. It is less than 2x, which is less than 14. The next step would be to divide the middle, the right, and the left by 2. So negative 6 divided by 2 is negative 3, is less than x, which is less than 7. When you graph this, you're going to graph the negative 3, and you're going to graph the 7. The variable's in the middle again, so you're going to be open on the negative 3, and you're going to be open on the 7, and you're going to shade everything in between. And the third part of your assignment today, you're going to be given OR inequalities. So you're going to be given a problem like 5x minus 14 is less than negative 9, or 3x plus 3 is greater than 12. When you're given these OR inequalities, you just solve both inequalities like you would or like you have been for the last 2 weeks. And then you're just going to graph both solutions, both sets of solutions on the same number line. So you're going to add 14 to each side. So 5x is going to be less than negative 9 plus 14 is 5. And then you're going to divide each side by 5. So x is less than 1. The word OR comes down with your answer. And then you solve the inequality on the right the way you have been. You would subtract 3 from each side. So 3x is going to be greater than 9. And then divide each side by 3. The 3's will cancel. And x is greater than 3. You're just going to graph both sets of solutions on the same number line. So you've got a positive 1 on the number line, and you've got a positive 3 on the number line. So you're graphing x is less than 1, so it's an open circle on the 1. And it's going less than 1. It's an open circle on the 3, and you're graphing greater than 3. Does anybody have any questions? The and inequalities, when the x is in the middle, you just solve those by solving for x and leaving it in the middle of the inequality. The or inequalities, when they have the word or in them, you just have to solve both inequalities separately and graph them on the same graph.